How's it going, everyone? Mad Spartan here, and today I'm bringing you another Contest of Champions War video. It is War number 3. We are up against Beyond Omega Level Threat. GG's to these guys. Our whole alliance played really bad this war. We could have won in so many different ways because this alliance was just constantly giving us chance after chance. We were just taking it away. So overall, it is a very upsetting loss. We did lose to these guys. They didn't ban Quicksilver, and that's like the start of my of my destruction because I stupidly did something later on. I'll show you guys later. But first up, we do have a Scorpion. I am not on Boss Island, but I am on, I believe, 2 of the mini Boss Islands. The first thing I do against the Scorpion is use Quicksilver over Sandman. The reason why is once I get to the 300 momentum, I have the permanent slow, so there is no more Scorpion evade. So I'm going to start this game off with a parry and get probably like just under 300. I do see here that you have to hit him like 20 times for him to get Scorpion Sense, so it's not too much of a big deal. But when a combo with Quicksilver is like 15 hits, it goes pretty fast. That's why we were just under it. We get the permanent slow, so there's really nothing much else to it. Now, I was trying to figure out how to go about attacking him. I wanted to do the SP2 to, double the whiplashes when I'm on maximum momentum. But I was afraid that the Scorpion Sting would still hurt me even if I was the global. Because I'm not really sure like what it gets rid of and what it doesn't. So I played it safe and I only just threw the SP3 when he had like no health left. So I am going to manually be detonating the whiplashes. Pretty much just trying to bait SP1s. There's not really much to it. Like, even if I block and I get the poisons, I'll actually be willpower regenerating off of it. The only downside is once I get too many poisons, they are going to reduce the amount that I regenerate. Not a big deal. This is one of his only fights, so, like, the damage I take isn't very, like, I'm not really looking at it too much. I'm trying not to stun him because I know that it reduces it by 20% every time you don't have a buff. So I'm trying to, like, use the stuns at the right moment. And I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but the interaction that I have when I try to punish his heavy is because Quicksilver's like dash is a little bit slow and Scorpion's is so fast. For some reason, I'm not able to punish it sometimes. He does parry me, but because of the fail-safe evade, it's not that big of a deal. We do end the game off with an SP3, which is so cool for a thumbnail. Maybe if I use that. But overall, I gotta say, we do lose. It was very upsetting. We just gave it to them at that point. No like one person's fault at it, but I made a stupid mistake. If I didn't make that mistake, we would have won by 1, obviously. But you can't live in the past, so we're just gonna accept it and move on to the next one. This is it's ironic. That's kind of how our alliance works. We usually have like kind of like a crappy first like 3 or 4 wars, and then we go on like a crazy win streak. So not to jinx us, but we're literally in the same course that we've been in every season. So we shouldn't get too upset about it. Now what we have here is a Claire. Once again, I picked Quicksilver over Sandman just because you don't really get to see Quicksilver too much, and because it's a mystic, the whiplashes are doubled. I basically have to get to like 20 whiplashes, and their health pretty much just goes away. So right now I'm here. I'm trying to bait the SP2. I was a little nervous it wasn't going to come out because I didn't pop an invulnerability because I didn't think I needed it. So I was just kind of nervous. So as you can see, like even when she's trying to gain the power gain from me being immune, the whiplashes, not the whiplashes, the God, why can't I remember their name? The withers from the global stop that power gain because it isn't a lot to begin with, but it is enough that it will make a difference if you're not using a character with a wither. So we do have 48 here. I'm going to manually detonate it, and just like that, it's pretty much over. Hold and block 57k. It was probably going to be a lot more, but she didn't have much health left, so it was pretty easy. So next up, we do have Idoom, which he doesn't benefit anywhere from the node. So pretty much anyone can take it. So I do bring in Sandman, and that's pretty much the end of Quicksilver's war, which it shouldn't have been the end of his war, but I made a stupid mistake. But starting off here, I'm going to try to gain some power from doing heavies because it doesn't give me any resistance ups. And a lot of times what I like to do is do the heavy for the SP2 and you pretty much get to the SP2 with like around like 3 or 4 heavy proficiencies, depending on how many you want to do. And it pretty much just makes your damage when you're in unstable like absurd. So we're going to cash out at 3. We're going to throw the SP2. I do love having the relic with him because it is a guaranteed stun. So you're able to not have to cash in any resistance ups to either like tank a hit or parry to do it. So just like that 40k burst. So like, the fight's going pretty well. Now, instead of SP2s, I do want to eventually go to SP1s because his regen is going to be a decent amount. I mean, I'll have Despair Mastery, so it's not going to be that much of a problem. So we're pretty much just biding our time, dexing SP1s. I didn't want to wait for, I didn't want to throw it while he had it because I was afraid that he might auto-block it like Doom does. So pretty much just at 15 now, which I was annoyed about. We do cash in the relic, so I get the free cycle with the heavies. And he has his regen, but we weren't able to throw the SP1. I always like to throw the SP1 before it comes out to reverse it. But we did too much damage, and then we only needed to take out 4% more. So it was pretty much done. Now this fight, I was a little nervous about because I had to fight Kingpin in the off-season here, and I didn't really have an answer for it. So as I was looking at it this war, I just thought might as well use iDoom, because I usually use iDoom against Kingpin in Battleground, so I didn't really see much of a problem for it. It's all just about if he cashes in the shock, not a big deal. If he doesn't, then you get the heavy. It's really not that big of a deal. The only thing I was worried about is the same problem that I have when I use Guardian. I'm not immune to the placebo buffs. So he's going to be gaining power. If he at all doesn't throw the SP1 when I have something, like I'm going to have to be blocking SP2s or worse, getting hit by them because they're unblockable. At that case, I'll just try to dex the first hit and only cash in 2 charges. So at least I can either tank an SP3 or another part of an SP2. And the reason why I picked him, though, is because I know he has good power management. He's able to control it pretty well. It's just all about whether I can get the shock. So it's based off RNG, but it's not too bad. You need to kind of depend that Kingpin's going to throw his specials pretty regularly. As you can see here, he's pretty much just like throwing them right at me. But even if he weren't to, like, you'd have a decent amount of time to bait them. You'll have only the dexterity buff, and if you stay away from him, you won't have any placebo buffs. So as you can see here, I do this little cycle with the relic that I really like to do, where the stun and the long duration attacks from Sentinel actually bypass the shock. So I can put on a new shock, and then I can pretty much just lay into him. The SP2, big damage. That's actually how I take Atsumas, and it works out pretty well. And I guess I forgot that I was on the first island. It's an aggressive regen Absman. Nothing much to it. It's a lot easier than the Absman I took last war on Conflictor. It's prioritizing SP1s. I did have a few seconds left on the Indestructible from the last fight. So I always like to start with a bar of power against this fight, but I didn't because I'm not going to waste an Indestructible boost. So I do the heavy. I'm trying to gain proficiencies before I throw the SP1 because it does make your it makes your unstable like thing a lot more. That's what gives you like the crazy burst damage. So we did stack up our petrifies. As you can see, he's just melting. Whether he stays in his Uru form or not, we're going to be doing big damage to him. So I'm going to start with a parry because I don't like to risk holding the heavy. Doing the heavy stun, and we're going to end it on an SP1. I didn't want to waste it and do one more and then an SP1 because I wanted to keep him to be throwing the SP1. I was afraid if I did another heavy, it would give him 2 bars, and if he threw it twice, then I'd be burning because Sandman isn't Incinerate immune. He's only bleed, poison, and shock, which obviously is more than enough. But we do have to prioritize that I don't burn to death. Play it more safe. Now, as you can see, he's just ticking away with all those petrifies. Even with the low potency, when they're all together, like once you get about like 9 or 10, that's when like the reverse is a lot. And just like that, we melted the Asman. That was an Ascended rank 5, so it was good. This is the fight. I was so upset about it. Let me walk you through my my thought process. I have taken rooted Ebony Maw like over maybe like 15 times with Quicksilver. It's easy. It's so easy. But I was like, you know what? I've been using Sandman a lot. And I was like, you know what, let me just use Sandman. Because I've done it one time with Sandman, and it worked. It worked, but it was like a brawl. Like, it wasn't like a real fight. So we are renewing the Rooteds. It's pretty good. You guys are going to see. The fight goes really well. You know what I mean? Until it doesn't. But we're gaining the heavy proficiencies. So overall, it's looking pretty good. You know, trying to gain as many as possible. I do want to do the heavy in the corner, but if they do have the resist mastery, I will be cashing in my indestructible, and I didn't want to do that. Now it does have negative, not negative, but it's like negative 80% power after an SP2, and we are using the unstable to block that, which isn't a big deal. So we're looping the heavies, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like this is what I wanted. Like this seems like a very satisfactory thing. Crazy burst. Now we got to be careful because I got to think about bubble shields. I do use the relic stun to gain another heavy. Hopefully, a lot of times if you knock them down, they'll come up with another super. And I don't know what was up with that Dex, but I got hit with like the tail end of the thing. I don't even know. So now I'm kind of panicking because I'm like, I don't have him knocked down, so I'm gaining my stuff. And I need him to wake up with his SP1. He's not throwing the SP1. I mixed the parry. And I'm like, all right, I mean, I'm still fine. And then I do purposely block the second hit. I am faltered, so I have to wait that out. Trying to trigger a parry here. It's just not working. He's unstoppable now. I'm in the corner. I'm like, all right, this isn't bad yet. And I do the heavy, but because it's so slow, he goes miss in the middle of it. And then I was trying to land a 5-hit combo to throw the SP3, and it did not work out. I did not see him going unstoppable. And at that point, I was so upset because I should have just went in with Quicksilver. It's obviously an easier fight. He's got the permanent slow on him. He's immune to all buffs. He can parry non-contact, and I was so pissed because it was a stupid mistake. You know, Quicksilver is the perfect option, and for some reason I didn't use him because I was just feeling Sandman, which was a stupid idea. Very upset about it, but you guys are gonna see like how easy it is with Quicksilver. So I'm gonna be building up my momentums here, but I do have to prioritize hitting him with heavies. And we throw the SP1 to gain 300, which has a permanent slow on it, so there's no more slow. I am gonna keep trying to heavy him and to keep resetting the timer. I don't really look at the rooted thing, obviously, because he has such low health. Like I can manually detonate it now, and I know he's done. So he does throw the SP2. I don't know what happened with that. I was so annoyed, guys. You have no idea. Especially since last war, I was like, oh, Deathless Season. But I'm not promising that. And obviously, thank God I didn't, because it didn't work. But just like that, the Ebony Maw is dead. I was like, oh, God, man. I'm so disappointed. But unfortunately, my war was not over after this. I do have to take the Conflictor, and as you can see, I was so mad, I didn't even end the recording. I didn't realize until I got to the fight, so I'm just going to leave all this in here. You guys are going to see me healing, and I'm so mad while I'm doing it. I'm going to move over to the, I believe it's a Conflictor Doom, which isn't a big deal. It's, I just have to prioritize doing the SP1s, because, with how low the potency is on Sandman's Petrifies, the only thing that I can negate here is Mystic Dispersion. You can never fully get rid of... you can never really fully get rid of Conflictor. It's maybe turns from like a 75% of a bar power to maybe like 25% or like 30%, which is a significant amount, but you kind of have to prioritize what you want here. You know, a lot of times the Mystics over there have 5 out of 5 on Mystic Dispersion, so we do have to prioritize what we need. Sandman is immune to all 3 debuffs that are going to be given this game, or 2 debuffs. It's Poison and, no, hold on, Bleed and Shock. So there's going to be no, like, heavying me or anything like that. I'm trying to get rid of the aura here. I did get lucky. He did throw the SP1 while the aura was still active, so it was only like about like another second and a half on it. And just like that, we do retaliate with a Petrify. I'm not really watching my unstable counter here. I'm more prioritizing that I have power to throw the SP1. And as you can see, like, he gains a lot, and I had to cut it short because I didn't want him to get to his SP2. We do have a bunch of Petrifies here, which means basically no Mystic Dispersion. As you can see, I think it actually went down like a tad when I cashed in the Precision Charge. like I said, there's going to be no way to negate Conflictor, so we just kind of have to deal with it. And as long as at least one Petrify is on Doom, we don't have to worry about his aura coming out. He did get a little bit of power gain there. Not a big deal. We do use the Relic to gain a couple of heavies, because I do like gaining the heavy proficiencies now. Now that his Awakening is a lot higher, it was something that I have to utilize. Unlike last season when he didn't really have a high Awakening, so it wasn't something I looked for. So we do try to end the combo. I found this little trick that seems to work a lot, but once again, I do have to end it fast, because I don't want the SP2, because I know, knowing me, I'm going to try to dex it. I wasn't really in the mood to play anymore, because I died to that fight, so just trying to end the fight without dying again. It's kind of losing the urge to play this. So we do gain precisions here. Now we have about 16, which is a good chunk of Conflictor. We won't gain like too much on Conflictor, and Mystic Dispersion isn't even a thing anymore. As you can see, he didn't gain too much on Conflictor, and he had like 11. The potencies are really crap though, so it's not something like to write home about. Just like that. That was actually pretty good, but I also have over 15. You don't usually gain a lot of Petrifies, because his debuffs only last 1 second. And just like that, the war is done. Very disappointed in myself, but the only good thing is that sorry about that, the audio cut out. The only good thing is that the whole alliance kind of played bad, so it's not too bad, but there's a lot to work on, clearly, because we should not have lost to these guys. Plenty of opportunities to get the win. Obviously, the fault doesn't lie on one specific person, but I do hold myself very highly, because I do consider myself very good at the game. So when I make a stupid mistake like that, like just using the wrong champ, like just using a champ that I like more than the perfect counter, is a very like gold 1 mentality. So I don't I feel very disappointed that I did that. But you know, you live and you learn, and if Quicksilver's ever not banned again, that is who I'll use, whether Sandman can take the fight or not. But overall, it's you know, I'm happy with how I performed in the other fights, and you know, you just gotta learn. And first death of the season, not a good one, definitely bad taste. But our next war starts, by the time I'm voiceovering this, next war starts in a few hours, so we do have to prioritize that war now, and we are even lower now. But like I said, it's kind of how our alliance works. We'll have a crappy first couple of wars, you know, people will be like, oh, this is done, we're leaving, we're done, and then we go on like a crazy win streak. So we just have to keep up with it and just do what we always do, I guess. But overall, we're doing good. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.